you. So quickly, I introduce myself. I'm a moderator. I'm also from the Asian Development Bank. I'm the Senior Social Sector Specialist from the Human and Social Development Sector from the sector group. And then, of course, we have first on my left, we have Raymond. He's the founder and CEO and head of the board of directors of International Center for Industry Transformation. And then we have next Danilo Lachica from he's the president for Semiconductor Electronics Industry of Philippines, IND. Yes, and then we have next Ravi Bhushan Singh. He's the general manager of Schneider Electric. And followed by next, we have Linda Lim. She's a senior lecturer, School of Engineering, Institute of Technical Education, Singapore. And last but not least, we have Giovanni Grisana. He's the president of Skillman EU. Thank you. So I will start, with the first round of questions. Yep. Just a moment. So Raymond, we know each other for quite some time, and I know that you have worked 37 years before in Siemens, and you were the senior executive VP. So you have done a lot of work in industry transformation. In fact, we had a lot of, we tapped a lot on your experience, over the last 2 years. Last 3 years during COVID time, we have a lot of this, what we call the webinar series on Industry 4.0, and many of our participating member countries, our developing member countries actually participated in the webinars, and we learned a lot, on the proof of concept, the use case, on how Industry 4.0 can be applied. Yeah. So could you tell us, how small, medium enterprises around Asia region or any of the selected country that you have worked with performing in terms of industry transformation, and what are the maybe 2 pain points of small, medium enterprises to carry out their work and transformation in Industry 4.0. So over to you, Raymond.
So first of all, I need to explain to you, we are a platform business. And in this platform, we have external so-called transformation consultant, and they give data into our platform. And this data we aggregate for governments, for make informed decisions in which maturity is my industry segment. Now to your question, SMEs. When we look globally in, let's say, after 10 years talking of Industry 4.0 and digitalization, and we have a metric behind how we measure the maturity of companies in general between 0 and 5, where do you think is the world if I aggregate this data? And we have at the moment 4,000 companies in our database. Where's the world after 10 years talking about Industry 4.0? It's 1.55. So everybody I talk to say, Raymond, we are not so good in Industry 4.0. I said, well, the bad news, you are not so good. The good news is you are not alone in the world. Now, let's go to SMEs. The difference between SMEs, and this we see from also from the data, and the MNCs is SMEs by its nature lagging behind the digital transformation. And if you look more into detail, the first problem is they focus from a time horizon, operational execution. So they live from the hand in the mouth every day. If you go to the MNCs, they have it from a time horizon, strategic planners. So they going into how do I form myself into the future. Now, here comes now the first thing. What is a prioritization index? We have 4 in 1. We do a maturity check. Then we calculate based on a maturity index in the background, what is the next step of the SME? But then we step out, and then we need good consultant with Industry 4.0 skills, knowledge, to provide, let's say, what solution, what digital solution should be implemented. Now, if you look to the data, there is 1 out of 16 dimensions. All SMEs worldwide are really bad, and this is job shop connectivity. Why? It is not because they don't do it. It's a mixture of they don't do it and the portfolio is not existing. Don't get me wrong, Schneider. but I worked for Siemens, so we were big friends, Schneider and Siemens, no joking. So Siemens is focusing on medium and large scale companies. But the package, let's say, if you have 10 production steps and you do a job shop connectivity, it's not given. There are no companies existing. Now comes the second one. If you are with an SME and an MNC, let's say belong to the low performer in Industry 4.0, then you focus, number one, on employment efficiency, job shop employee efficiency, and number two is product quality. If you look to the top 10 performers in Industry 4.0, they're looking in material and machine efficiency, and number two in scheduling and planning efficiency. So you see immediately a complete difference in the behavior, which would have an impact also on the curriculums if you want to tell them where to focus on. Then I have 4 seconds left. Then there is one business model which does not exist and which would help SMEs a lot, where you as universities could play a major role because the industry is not interested in this business model. And this is called digital twin as a service. When you look at PTC, Dassault, Siemens, they want to sell the software and the license, but it's too expensive for SME. And the SME, they will come and say, can you do a simulation of my production, the 10 production steps I have, and just give me an easy solution and show me how much is the material throughput, how many more products I would use. And if you have this digital twin software, you can do it for him and he can calculate the return of investment. And these are very small steps with a huge impact. So business modeling for universities, for your students, who then immediately have practical experience and have a higher acceptance. And now I need to stop.
Thank you so much, Raymond. So I sort of, caught that, data-driven industry transformation is really important, and there's a huge opportunity out there. Particularly, I think, with the universities, you can even offer digital twin as a service, right? So, we sort of try to make it simple so that we can understand, how can we actually do the digital transformation in industry, and then even, create a new business out of it. So next, I go to Dan. Dan, you have also held leadership position at MNCs such as Hewlett Packard in California, Motorola in Arizona, American Microsystem in Idaho, and P&G in the Philippines, and now you're heading Semiconductor Electronics Industry Association in the Philippines, right? So Philippines is also looking at developing its semiconductor and electronics industry. We interact a lot with the Department of Trade industry. That is, sort of conveyed to us as a really important priority sectors for Philippines going forward. So, how can the semiconductor and electronics industry take advantage of the diversification of the global supply chain, which is really coming, right? And what should the Philippine, government or the private sector or the association can do in terms of Industry 4.0 transformation to seize this opportunity of the diversification of the global supply chain, and how can Philippines be the ideal hub for the diversification? So over to you, Dan.
Those are 3 questions. I don't know if I have enough time. 4 minutes. Anyway, I'll start. I guess just to give everyone a background, the Philippine electronics industry is the biggest commodity export of the Philippines. It accounts for 13% of our GDP. So that said, there should be a lot of focus on this industry. By the way, I'm wearing another hat. I'm the chief of party of the USAID project on advanced manufacturing skills development, which is kind of what was touched on earlier. Essentially, what we do at AMDEV is to establish, because it's there, the skills gap between our college graduates and what the industry needs. And so this group essentially will identify the skills, both functional and enabling skills, and develop courses to equip these people, including skills required for IR 4.0. Now, as far as the industry is concerned, certainly one of the more advanced industries in the Philippines would be the electronics industry. And so what we've done really is to strengthen the industry. You mentioned a rating of 1.2 or something, 1.55. That's actually very honest assessments, because when we did a sample of our members, I mean, some of them really thought too highly of themselves, but we looked at the four dimensions of automation, and certainly the weaknesses were exposed. So if you really want to be honest, then I would go with the rating that Raymond mentioned. The thing is, you have to admit the weaknesses for you to be able to improve, right? And that's our intent for our members. We have 360 members, and what we want them to do is realize where they're at in the IR 4.0 journey. And so we have the wherewithal, we have the resources to be able to help them so that they can be competitive, not only in the local, but more importantly, the global supply chain. Because as exporters, we don't play in the Philippine market, we play in the global market. So that's very important to be competitive, right? Now, what can the Philippine government do? Well, as far as the DTI is concerned, I think you had Undersecretary Yusek Tito, whom Raymond knows, has been very supportive. For one, they've established an IR 4.0 Center of Excellence. The thing that they need to do about that, though, is to expand the awareness, the knowledge, and they're also coming up with the promotion to um, subsidize the training of assessors, the CSAs. In fact, I signed up for one, believe it or not. I guess I don't have anything better to do, right? But I think it's important for us to build up that skill set, not only to be assessors, but I think before that, to be able to be advisors, because what we also want to do for not just for the electronics industry is to share the wealth, share the knowledge to other industries in the Philippines, say starting with agri, for instance. I mean, it's one of the I guess less developed industries, and something that really needs support because it also accounts for exports, but more importantly, low yields, low productivity, and all that. So we're going to be we committed to DTI that will share with them, share our knowledge with them. But there's a lot of opportunities, and there are a lot of policies from government, which I can go into later, that would help also in setting up an environment that will be conducive for Industry 4.0. Because, and this also ties up with our role at AMDA, because, well, why is it Industry 4.0? Because 5.0 or even 6.0 is around the corner. 5.0 meaning, collaboration, the interaction of humans with automation, right? So we look at it at advanced manufacturing, obviously 4.0 going into 5.0 and beyond. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan. In fact, we are quite glad that your association is very supportive of the Smart Industry Readiness Index assessment. That Raymond will explain a little bit what he does for Siri in short. And of course, with DTI, we also are going to support in a new upcoming project where the pilot smart manufacturing facility will be incorporated in the project, and we hope that could actually help to create a lot of applied solution in terms of this Industry 4.0 transformation, particularly for the small, medium enterprises, which are actually the key employment engine of any of the countries that we work with, right? We hear, the two industry experts, who have years of working, in the practical sense, in the manufacturing. Now we move a little bit to Schneider Electrics, which they have a combination of course, manufacturing, and they are also into provision of Industry 4.0 solution, and automation. So my question for you, Ravi, would be, how does Schneider Electric actually support Industry 4.0 transformation from skill development and the training perspective? Over to you, Ravi.
Thank you, Chong. So Schneider Electric is in energy management and automation company. And we may invest and create the best technologies, solutions, softwares, but finally, if there is nobody to install it correctly, to operate it correctly, to implement it correctly, all the innovation that we do finally comes to no use. And if you see, the main purpose of Schneider Electric has been to aid, to catalyze the journey of decarbonization and to support enterprises and governments to be able to achieve this. And one of the most important elements of decarbonization or in the journey of decarbonization is digitization. So bringing digital, we are no more in the era where we were only a hardware company. We have integrated operational technology with information technology. So all these skills need to be transferred to young people and also for the existing professionals to make sure that they are upskilled in the new age technologies that are coming in. So for these reasons, Schneider began two initiatives worldwide. One, which is our philanthropic initiative. So we donate a lot of equipments into educational institutions to make sure that there is skilling in this space, in the technological advancements and changes that are happening. We also started the education services activity for us, wherein there are a lot of organizations, institutions, government that essentially don't need our financial aid, but they require our expertise and understanding in what is the right courses, right equipments, right curriculums that should be integrated into the institution or at the institutional level. So in both these initiatives, we've helped create an ecosystem wherein what we have done is in the different areas of our operation between energy, buildings, and industry, we have created small modules which can be simply integrated into your existing courses and curriculums without causing too much of effect into the normal study pattern, but making sure that there are the two challenges that the institutions face: one for practical learning approach, and second for integrating new age skills, be it in digital, in IoT supervision. So we've broken down into smaller blocks, IoT supervision, augmented reality, cyber security. So these are different topics which are essentially to build up, this whole roadmap of digital capabilities, and also, to finally sum up the decarbonization journey to make sure that there is, this whole integration of electric vehicles that is happening. Existing energy needs to be replaced by new and renewable energy or new and renewable sources of energy. So all that planification, how that fully integrate into the learning of the student. So let's say that we take a modular approach. We work very closely with universities, with TVETs, and with governments to educate them, to consult with them, and then finally to help them also install, commission, and these to integrate the courses and the curriculums into their teaching systems. And at many times when there are institutions which invest intensively into this type of infrastructure, we also commit with managing their operations, because one of the big issues is that we may deliver a lot of courses and equipments and softwares, but the trainers are not able to manage them. So for a period of time, we do a build, operate, transfer model. So to summarize, these are different steps that Schneider has taken to make sure that we are right available in hand with the institution to make sure that this transformation or change in the landscape for teaching in IR 40 is adopted very easily into the institutions. And of course, we have set up a booth. If you are more interested to learn about what Schneider is doing, we are welcome to discuss more with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Ravi. Yeah, in fact, the booth is out there. If you go out, it's just near the entrance where you come in. And I would also add this, Ravi, I just visited your center last week in Singapore, where they actually showcase all the technologies that they have, and I was already really impressed with it. So any of you who has any technical vocational education and training project, if you stop by Singapore, you can always request, if there's a possibility to visit, the showcase center, the Center of Excellence, and I'm sure, you'll be able to learn a lot, from there as well. So let me then move to Linda. Linda, you are the only this institute, technical vocational education and training institute here among the panel. And this is really important, because earlier we hear from Raymond, we hear from Dan, about, from the industry perspective, the importance, of skill development, when it comes to industry 4.0 transformation, right? And the Institute of Technical Education in the past has a lot of legacy machine, and of course, they could in Singapore, I think ITE could easily, just replace all these legacy machine, to Industry 4.0 enabled machine, but for the matter, they did not actually do that, So, but I will leave Linda for you to talk about it, So, could you share, how an institution or small medium enterprises using legacy machine be able to transform skills and job without having to come up with a huge investment to replace their legacy machine and equipment? So, over to you, Linda.
Yeah, hi. Okay. Wouldn't it be good to know when the cutter fails for CNC machine? My department is actually precision engineering. So we have quite a few legacy machines like DMG, Makino. And so we started from that point of example, knowing predictive maintenance. Okay, so currently we will not be able to tell when it happens and when the cutter fails. And if it does, the students have to stop work to change the cutter, or such situation could be unsafe for them. So at the precision engineering department, we look at retrofitting a DMG CNC machine with sensors. We mounted 3 sensors on the machine, and these sensors will measure the vibration, noise, and power. So power in terms of current and voltage. The test was done, quite a few tests was done, and basically we are looking at the graph that's generated from these sensors reading. So from this study, we actually embarked on a journey of digitalization. How we do it, we enabled these machines to be IoT ready. So we started from placing sensors point of view. And we wanted to introduce digitalization in our classroom scenarios. So the data from these sensors are actually sent to a controller and exported to an Excel file. So when we introduce a learning scenario for the students, what we require the students to do is they have to design the workpiece using CAD/CAM software and machine the parts. So they will analyze from these sensors that was externally installed on the machine, from the readouts, and determine from the graph whether they can improve the parameters to achieve what are the specifications, right? Because they have certain dimensions to meet. Okay, and from here, firstly, we will achieve the aim. We started on the aim of getting digitalization in our curriculum. And secondly, we are exposing students to learning how to read data that's generated from these sensors. Right now, we have a video, so we can show a video of this retrofitted legacy machine.
So I'm here at ITE Central College at the School of Engineering in Singapore, and looking at wonderful machines which have been instrumented, CNC machines that have been instrumented with sensors to detect potential failure, to detect so that we can avoid failure in these kind of things. So this is kind of full analytics and recording of signals from the actual CNC machine that can be then taken into an AI system and analyzed. It's truly fantastic work wherein legacy machines are being instrumented with AI, with sensors to bring them to a new level of excellence. The work at ITE is truly phenomenal. It's really moving things forward in the way that machining and CNC work can take place, not just about automating some of the work that the machine is doing, but also taking care of the machinist. The machinist is a key element here in telling the machinist what is good, what they're doing well, and what they're not doing well is key in their training. Truly great work here at ITE Singapore.
So, thank you, Linda, and thanks for sharing this video. In fact, I don't know whether is it too technical, in the explanation, but basically, all these machines, they were all not connected to one another. Basically, they are just individual standalone machines. And so one of the first step, in digital transformation in ITE is really, to not just discard the CNC machine there because they are expensive, although they are legacy machine, right? So, what they did is that they get the machine, interconnected. Yeah, and then they try out, putting different sensor, be it a vibration sensor, visual sensor. I think there are some other sensor, sort of to be able to extract data, when the machine is running. So once you have data, you're able to analyze, you're able to, do things like predictive maintenance, or even, to improve the quality of the cutting of the workpieces in the machining workshop. So I think that is really a good example because many industry, the small medium enterprises, they also don't have that kind of financial strength, and they cannot easily borrow from the bank, and they wouldn't do it, because it's such a heavy burden, right? So for the institution to be able to teach the students how to even convert legacy machine to be able to be connected, to be able to draw data and improve their quality of the products. I think that is one small step towards industry transformation, towards Industry 4.0. Thanks, Linda, for sharing that. And then next, I move to Dan. Then, for you, you are almost like a catalyst, sorry, not Dan, Giovanni, sorry. So Giovanni, you're almost like a catalyst, bridging the academic institution, the TVET institution with the industry. I understand you work across multiple countries with the ministries and with TVET institution, in order to bridge that divide, between the industry as well as the academic TVET institution. So we would like to hear from you if you could share the experience on how European small, medium enterprises in advanced manufacturing sector are transforming regarding Industry 4.0 and how they respond to the emerging skill need, the European context. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Chong. I will stay up because last night I didn't sleep, so I risk to went sleeping during the speech. So I will give some title only because time is very short. So advanced manufacturing sector versus advanced manufacturing solutions. For us to promote the labor market, we have an approach, for example, to move beyond the singular industrial approach and a perspective, and to expand the advanced manufacturing to craft sector, to craft people, to revitalize the sector and to create workplaces. So advanced manufacturing for us is not only for industry. We have this, and now we are conducting a research, is Trucks for Craft project financed by European Union, and we are trying to move in this direction to expand the limits to this kind of different workers. So everybody is talking about excellence in Europe, and I know that also we are in the same way. We have the COVES.eu initiative, and we have since 2009 an important initiative from the European Commission, which is the Erasmus for Young Entrepreneurs program, which has created more than 11,000 business-to-business matches among entrepreneurs. This for entrepreneurial learning for this kind of small, medium companies which are trying to enter in the effective solutions for the advanced manufacturing. So even the European Eurobarometer has recognized the relevance of the skills for these kind of companies, which are now under our focus. And we are trying to shape the future of the society through these workers. So not only an industrial approach, but an approach to excellence which brings our beliefs, which are, in very simple way, the sustainable development goals. So we have these behind our activities. And we have many initiatives, but as time is going to end, I will bring you a small story because I couldn't bring any clothes from Italy. I didn't know that. So typical clothes. So I would like to talk about the obelisk, which is in Rome, in the Vatican Square, which was built in Egypt in 35 centuries ago. And now it was moved. It's a very important piece of stone, 25 meters marble, only one piece. And it was moved after 15 centuries to Rome. And then they were looking how to move again it, but they lose the skills. They didn't know how. And after other 15 centuries, they became able to move it, but with a very interesting history. There were 500 people involved in this transport. This is a building sector. And they were not having anymore the skills of before. And they were all organized with a specific mandate from the Pope. The ones who was talking too loud were risking to be killed. So the ropes were going to be not enough resistant, and a sailor, which was there among the workers, realizing that the support of these ropes were about to break. And he shouted, give water to the ropes. Time is finished, but I think you want to know the end of the history. So, and then he was not condemned. He was prized because this mix of different skills from another sector, he was a sailor, saved the obelisk, and the obelisk finally went to the position and went to the place. So this was after long time when they had before the skills and they lost, and then they recreated this through an innovation, through contamination from different sectors. So this is what we are trying to do. We have same challenges, but we have different tools. We need to find for solution, skill mismatch, skill transmission, cross-sectoral skills, practical knowledge, innovation, creative thinking, and so putting this together in our age. I think we have the same challenges, and we look to this as the solutions that that we promote. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni.
Sorry
I think,
for all my mistakes. I didn't sleep last night.
No, I think this is really good. I think, what I can draw from you is really, when we talk about industry, transformation, industry 4.0 skill set, going back to the basic is still also important, right? Yeah. So that, we can be grounded, but we do all the, the new things, the, industry 4.0, training, but, the basic, skill set are all still relevant and important. Right, so I think now I should quickly go to the second round, because I promised Raymond that I will ask you about Siri 4.0 Siri assessment. So could you sort of advise us how can Siri, which has been adopted by World Economic Forum as a global standard on the Industry 4.0 assessment tool to be able to support small medium enterprises in their industry 4.0 transformation? Over to you, Raymond.
I mean, I first of all, we are a non-for-profit organization. Why did I found this company as a non-for-profit organization? You will laugh now a little bit to scare investors away, because the business model we have no competitor worldwide. So we are quite attracted of recent cases that people want to buy the company, and it will not be sold because I told World Economic Forum, I give it to you for $1 at the end. So when we're going now to the small, medium enterprises, the biggest problem is that they don't know what to do as a next step. And that's the reason we call it prioritization index. Our system, when you enter the data, calculate for them the next step. Now comes the next problem. The next step, then our system will spit out. The transformation consultant look at it and say, I have no idea how I implement that now. So what we implemented with World Economic Forum together is an ecosystem. So we have open innovation platform too. One is challenge-based. So free of charge, the manufacturer and the consultant can formulate the challenge. The challenge will then, a dating platform, be published under discipline. The discipline, an email goes out to all the solvers, Moderators who signed into the platform, and then they compete about an award. So solving the thing and implementing a solution. If you be programming at the moment at InnoSphere, if you have an informed decision as an SME and you say, material waste is my problem, then you click on the dimension material waste, and then you see the companies with the references, what they do, and you can select the company itself. Now, I want to go a little bit away because I read here digitalized and climate resilience. We have two projects with World Economic Forum. One is digital transformation, and the second one is sustainability. We developed for 6 months with 35 consultants from McKinsey. And we have training manuals to both of them. And here's an offer from my side. The training manuals have 500 pages. And beside the PDF file, the text files, we have also the PPT files for the teacher. So if you want to have them to use it for your universities, I'm happy to do so. Now you will ask, Raymond, why? Because this training will tell the students why we need sustainability, because at the moment it's not in the brain of many people. Why do we need sustainability? My question of this year is, how was your summer this year? It was hot, it was burning, it was flooding, it was raining, it was unusual. Now, we are with World Economic Forum. We will even go closer with them. They have 15 centers for industrial revolution. And we going through these centers into the countries, and we develop then business models with them together and with governments together and put the infrastructure in place for the transformation. One last thing, 15 seconds. I told you digital transformation industry 4.0, we talk since 10 years. It was invented 2013 by one of our board members from Siemens. So 10 years, 1.55. Climate change, I remember when I left school, university, where we're talking about we need to do something. This is 32 years ago. Now, if we take the data from COSIRI, Consumer Sustainability Industry Readiness Index, and aggregate that on the top level, and we measure GHG emission, scope 1, 2, 3, supplier optimization, procurement optimization, climate risk mitigation, green business modeling, cash allocation, clean technology, circular product design, blah, 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 blah. Where's the world? Huh? Less than 1. And this is frustrating. Because this is, now you know why I say, take the manual of 500 pages, give it to your students, because if we're not accelerating sustainable manufacturing, for me it's fine. I belong, by the way, to the boomers. They don't care so much because I look from the salad bottom up in 10 years. But the generation X, Z, millenniums, below 38, they are the driver of sustainability because they change the buying behavior, how they want to purchase goods. There is, and then I finished, but that was not your question. There is one key which will create a chain reaction. Sorry, I need to promote that, which is a CO2 passport for products. The first government who put that in place will create a chain reaction for the production, for the manufacturing to reduce CO2. Finished. Thank you. Next one. So you need first.
Yeah, sorry. Thanks, Raymond. We talk about industry transformation. But we also from you, we hear from you. There's also need, a big push, by the new generation on decarbonization, and you have cost series assessment as well, to support the enterprises to do that transformation. In fact, one of the key thing, when we engage with the government is that there's always, a strong expression that there's a need to understand what is the current situation first. That's where the assessment, the series assessment, the co-series assessment come into picture. I know our group, our time is almost running out, but instead of asking you what we have prepared in the question, I see there's a Q&A which I would pose to Dan, because this is really relevant with your background. The question is, what is the best method in partnership between the government and the private sector to make Industry 4.0 becoming reality and effectively implemented? Over to you, Dan.
Well, the primary role of government really is to create an environment, an ecosystem that's supportive. But before I get into that, I just wanted to give some hope to those of you who haven't really experienced an IR 4.0 environment. Back in 1980, I was running a wafer fab in Silicon Valley. It wasn't 4.0, but it was 3.0. A lot of automation, but standalone automation. And so we wanted to get past that. And in fact, what we wanted to do was reduce the manual content. So we eliminated supervisors, we eliminated managers, and everyone in the wafer fab reported to me. And so, but I would wake up in the middle of the night, check where every lot was, what process, what was running. So the point really is, one of the things that we found out in the encouraging IR 4.0 implementation is the financial constraints, the capacity required. Well, my advice is start with what you've got. Start with what you've got. Slowly on, introduce automation, introduce data management. But eventually, you're going to get to a point where they're kind of pseudo 4.0 until you get the right amount of capital, which government, that's where government could come in, creating that environment in terms of financing, in terms of technology transfer, in terms of even tax breaks. For example, electronics companies, right? When they have fully depreciated equipment, they can donate that to even their suppliers, the medium enterprises, or even educational institutions for work skill improvement, right? Right now, the situation that we have is they're being taxed. Take out the taxes, create learning centers, create centers of excellence, create expertise, subsidize CSAs, right? Certified series assessors. And more importantly, talk to industry, talk to the companies and ask them what they need to create that favorable ecosystem. I give you 28 seconds extra.
Thank you, Dan. But before I move to Ravi, I think there's a very important point that Dan emphasized here, which is the step-by-step approach, towards the industry transformation. If industry 1.0 or 1.5, if you try to jump into industry 4.0, I think there's only one conclusion, which is the company will close shop, right? So, a step-by-step approach to the industry transformation to 4.0, and at the same time, the government's policy also need to also be step-by-step. You don't release one shot, a huge grant. You sort of space it out. I think it will work much better. So, Ravi, maybe I can move this question to you. How can Industry 4.0 enable electrical technology solution and products support better energy efficiency and reduce carbon emission? Because I think this, actually, sort of capture, our essence, right? Digital transformation and green transitioning, our main theme for this forum. Over to you, Ravi.
Thank you, Chong. So I'll try to simplify the answer to this question. So decarbonization is like running a marathon. The process, it's a very long journey. Schneider Electric is recognized as one of the world's most sustainable companies. And, to take up this leadership position in decarbonization, we've led by example. So we've implemented for ourselves. I've been in Schneider for 16 years, and I've seen the topic move from the boardroom to our workshop. So this is a very tricky and tough journey because we've picked up a lot of bad habits. We have to unlearn a lot of those things and implement, new technologies and new things that can help us in the decarbonization journey. To simplify, what we've learned, what worked for us is there are 3 steps that is essentially important. Number 1, to strategize, to really begin to measure yourself where you are, where you would want to go in the decarbonization journey. How much emissions that you would want to reduce. Then to deploy existing technology. It is possible by deploying existing technologies to reduce 70% of your emissions. And I think digital really plays a big role in that. And these technologies exist. Then the last step would be decarbonization itself. So we are electrifying the process, making sure that we are reducing the usage of energy by using digital technology, and then replacing our conventional sources of energy with new and renewable sources of energy, and then engaging, because decarbonization is not only about reducing scope 1 and scope 2 emissions for yourself, but also for partners, suppliers, and other people that work with you. So engage. This is a journey of partnership. So you engage with governments, with your suppliers, with anybody that is like-minded, willing to contribute in this whole journey. So I think this is my small take on simplifying decarbonization.
Thanks a lot, Ravi. I will quickly move, because of the interest of time. I think there's one question here, I think, which is kind of interesting, which I think both Giovanni and Linda can also respond to it. What new set of critical skills need to be cultivated to drive the prevailing workforce towards Industry 4.0 and beyond? So I think, we talk about, Industry 4.0, different skill set, but, so this question really drive, at, what are the critical skill set, that needs to be put in place, in addition to all this Industry 4.0, skill set that is needed. Maybe Giovanni, you want to go first?
Yes, I have another small history, if you like. 2 minutes. Okay, I want to bring you to the Florence Cathedral this time. Around the same period, the 14th century, when they completed it. It was done, the dome of the cathedral in Florence was done with 4 million bricks. And there is no any support system to bring up these bricks together. And it is impressive construction. And if you think when it was done, you think that it was really more big challenge than today, but they succeeded in this. And if you think to the value of 1 brick, which could be €1, you could think to buy this dome for 4 million euros, but obviously that this is an absurd idea. So the value of the dome is not the value of the bricks in itself, but is the value of the links that brings together the bricks and the power that they express, because you think how much is the weight of this construction. So 37 tons. And then the idea I have in this is that for our society, we need self-supporting relations. And this is an example of self-supporting Mazarin dome, no? Something built which keep together all 4 million bricks represent our society. And I take from this the idea that we need social, emotional skills and ethical skills to keep all together. So this is the first example. But the second idea that I get from this experience is who designed and built and driven the building of this was Filippo Brunelleschi. Probably many of you have not known him before. He was the first person in the world to patent something. And he was not an engineer. He was a designer, goldsmith, and sculptor. So he received artistic training. And when he proposed his model for the dome, he was not recognized as an engineer, and he was also widely mocked and derided because he was proposing something that was out of his skills. But in effect, he succeeded in it. And then he was recognized as the first engineer, modern engineer with incredible capacity, planner and construction supervisor. He was a master. He was conducting this work at the end, building this incredible construction. So the second lesson I take from this is about the knowledge of skills, the micro-credential strengths that we need to put in practice to recognize the skills where they are and to give to people the value of their own skills. So in one side, the skill mismatch, skills transmission, the obelisk, cross-sectoral skills, innovation, and in this side, the social and emotional ethical skills that we need for the society of tomorrow when we design the curricula of today. Thank you.
Thank you, Giovanni. So I still hear very strongly, about the need, to go back to the basic, having that cross in interdisciplinary skill, your social, emotional skill set. All these are still relevant and important, even though we are moving towards Industry 4.0. So I think I still have a couple of minutes. I think I should give Linda, a question, but the question disappeared. Okay, maybe I'll give Linda, a chance to sort of give us a final word of encouragement, on Industry 4.0. What would you advise, all the audience here that we need to do, if they want to, do the transformation, from where they are, to Industry 4.0? Maybe a word of wisdom from you.
Okay, 2 minutes. Okay, coming from technical education feedback is definitely robots are coming in. It'll be good to actually know how to work with the robots, whether it's cobots, whether it's industrial robots, and it'll be good to understand OEE on the factory production floor. So that's the overall equipment effectiveness. So that's where the students have to be exposed to some data reading. Yeah, so I think these tools will be very relevant.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are being now, encouraged to leave the room, I think. So thank you, to all the panelists, member for spending time here, and thank you to all the audience. Thank you.